Let's begin. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about trying to do a platform tile. We did platform tiles, we did animated tiles, sorry, last week. We're going to be doing platform tiles today, and we're going to make something called a 9 slice, which allows me to build something like this. So if you remember, that was my background from the other time, and then this is my platform tile, and it allows me to kind of create a level using something called a tilemap. I'll go over this now in a second, so don't stress if you don't know what's happening. Let's see, we go to platform. And allows me to basically like just build stuff by just clicking and adding tiles onto it, okay? And I can create like colliders from it as well. You can see colliders showing up there. The green stuff is colliders. How much Unity do you all have at the moment? 0? Yeah? Okay, perfect. No, that's good. We will learn some today. So what we're trying to end up with is something at the end of the year, sorry, at the end of this semester, what you're going to submit to me is something like this, which I built ages ago. So you'll have something like, that's the game view. And we'll do a character as well. I don't have the character in this at the moment, but we'll be ending up with something like this. So if I press play, you'll see like there's all the tiled stuff, there's some animations going on, there's a little bit of particle effects. We haven't gone through all of this stuff yet. We've gone through animating, so like using sprite sheets. We haven't gone through keyframe animation that much yet, and we're doing tile stuff today. So we'll be ending up with something like this, and also, let me just look for that test sphere. We'll be setting it up in code, so you see like if I pass through that stuff, it starts animating, and things start happening. So we'll be building something like that. So this is going to be your submission to me at the end of the semester, like a whole level with a character in it, and it all works together. Okay, you just have one submission, and that's going to be it. So everything that I've been teaching you so far is building up to you building the whole thing like this to me. Any questions on that before we continue? All good? All right, so let me start with this, which I created something. I just created a tile. Let me just show the pattern preview. So it's a tiling, it's like a tile that like tiles up and horizontally and vertically, right? So I've built that. You all know how to do this, right? If anyone doesn't, hands up now, please. So I built this. That's fine. This is I believe at a 256 by 256 because I had a 1024 background, so I wanted it to be like a quarter the size. So that's 256. So I built that. And then from this, I can build something called a 9 slice. And I'll show you the finished version before I show you how to do it. And that's what a 9 slice looks like. So what I have there is I have a middle. The middle can tile, so I can extend the middle as much as I want. Then I have edge pieces and I have corner pieces. And in practice, what that allows me to do, if we go back to my test scene here, I'm just going to turn off the background so you can see it clearer. So in practice, what that allows me to do is create like tiles. You can see that's the middle bit is the middle section tiling, and then the top bit is the top sections tiling, the corner sections, the side sections. Make sense so far? All right, so basically from that one texture, I can create like essentially infinite levels because I can keep them like tiling over and over. So I'll show you how to do that really quickly, and we'll be building something like that today. We'll be going into Unity today and hopefully creating a tile map. So this is the original tile. Let me delete this or like close that. I'll make a new one. So because I know it's 256 by 256, so I need 256 by 3 and 256 by 3 to get like 9 in a square. Can someone quickly do maths for me? Any day now? Oh, smart. Okay, so that's gonna be my tile. I've also set up my grids, which hopefully you remember how to do. So I set up my grid, so each grid is 256 by 256. Okay, all good so far? So what I need to do is, so this is my tiling middle tile, right? I want to create, for example, so let me just place this one. So I place this in here. Make a copy, and I'll pull that copy over here. Can I do that? Okay. So So that's my center. Then I need to make my tops, corners, and sides. And that's pretty easy. So what I just need to do is I'm going to copy this and delete the background, because if I try to delete the background, it's just going to fill the background. Let me show you. So if I delete like that section, it won't give me transparency. It just makes it filled. So I need to delete the background. I made a copy of that layer, so it's here. Let me do the side. So I'm going to do the right hand side. So I can just like delete that side. And because I have pattern preview on, I can erase off some of this side and just try to make it irregular. I can add stuff if I want to. I can paint over if I want to, but essentially I'm just trying to make the right hand side tile. That's it. I'm done. So save that as PNG. That was this right side. I'm gonna make it. And I can place that. And that should snap just there. So hopefully if I turn off the grid, you should see that it does tile correctly, and that'll be the right hand side. All right, and then I literally just need to keep doing the same for the left side, the bottom side, and then for the corner, let me just show you what I'll do for the corner. For a corner, so somewhere like on the top here, that will be an intersection between like the right hand side and the top. So let me add in the top version here, which I've already made before. Add that there. So there's that piece there. I can just make a copy of that. You should remember from before, you can right click and duplicate. A quicker way to make a copy is you hold Alt using the move tool. Alt and click and drag, it'll make like a copy. So I put that there. And I want to edit this. You may find an issue. Like if I try to edit this, it's gonna give out to you and say you need to rasterize it. That basically means because I dragged it in, it's dragging in as something called a smart object, meaning it's a link to something that's not in that Photoshop folder. Photoshop file. So what I need to do is rasterize it. You just click OK. And it'll rasterize it, which means it will convert it to pixels. And then I can, again, erase off this side, and I'm basically getting my corner piece. Okay? Cool. And essentially I just go all the way around, continue doing that all the way around the 9 slice until I have my sides, my tops, and my corners. All good so far? Any questions on this? Sure? Okay. All right, so once we have this, let me go back to the completed one. I have that 9 slice. That's ready to go. And all I need to do is save that as a PNG. So I'm going to delete my entire scene here. I'm going to delete all of this and start from scratch. I'm going to do a 2D scene, create, save. All right, so I have a brand new scene. It's completely empty, and I have nothing in the assets folder. Again, not sure how much people know about Unity, but I'm going to assume everyone is at like 0 knowledge. So I have that exported as a PNG, and I can either drag it into Unity, or in Unity in the assets folder. This is where I store all my assets. So these are all my sprites, my animations, anything that I have in the game is considered an asset, and they're all in there. So I can go right click, import new asset, or I can drag it in. Because I have my Unity project set to 2D, it comes in as a sprite, so a 2D sprite already. If not, it might come in as default if you accidentally set your project to a 3D project, but it's fine, you just need to change that to sprite. It is a multiple, as we saw the last time, because I have 9 pieces in there. And then the pixels per unit is whatever my pixels per unit are, which are 256 for mine. I can apply that, and then I can open the Sprite Editor. And in the Sprite Editor, similar to how we slice the sprite sheet, I will slice that by cell count. And that's going to be 3 by 3. I can slice by cell size, it doesn't matter. I'm just doing by count. That's sliced, I've applied, and now I have the 9 sprites. Okay? And if I open, every time you see a little triangle like this in Unity, you can open it up and you can see it separated into individual little sprite sheets. So if I drag those in individually, they work. And I can build it like this if I want to. This is like the old school way you would build it. You would drag them in individually and like snap them together. Holding V in Unity lets me snap stuff. So I'm holding V right now and I can snap stuff together. That's the old way you would build it. You can do it like that, but it is kind of a pain. I'm going to do something called a tilemap, which is a lot easier to do. So here is a scene. A scene is basically like where you build the game. The game is where the actual game plays. So the scene is like kind of like the blueprints of what it's built of. Game is what happens when you press play. It plays game. So in our case, we're just going to work in scene for now. When you make a new scene, it usually comes in with a camera already inbuilt. I'm going to leave that camera alone for now, and I'm going to assume that camera is looking at the same view that I'm playing. So in this hierarchy on the left hand side, that is where everything that's in the scene is displayed. So when I dragged in something, you can see it starts being added here to the hierarchy. And if I drag more stuff in, they all start getting added to the hierarchy. In the hierarchy, I can also hold shift, select multiple things, and like group them to something. And that means this is now the parent of these. There's a term called like child and parent, and that just means like a child is childed or linked to a parent, meaning if I move a parent, all the children move with it. Okay, that's literally a term. All right, it's children and parents. So if you want to group stuff, you can do it like that. So this one platform is linked to everything. This platform is also, you can also rename it. So it's individually named here. This is something called an instance. So if I have this is the source asset. When I drag this in, it makes a copy of it into the scene. So this is completely different from this. If I change this bit, it doesn't change the original asset. Does that make sense? So that's why it's called an instance. It's like a copy of the original asset. All good? Okay. So I'm just going to delete all of these. So what I'm going to build is something called a tilemap, which allows me to create the level much faster. I'm just going to right click in hierarchy, 2D object, tilemap, and I'm going to go for basic rectangular tilemap. And you can see that it's set up a grid for everything, like for the tilemap that I'm going to create. And I can open a tile palette here. And a tile palette is where I can select stuff that I'm going to build a tilemap with. I don't have any like palette right now. I can rename this tilemap as well. I'm going to call this platforms. And the active tilemap is which tilemap I'm using right now. I only have one, so it's only going to use platforms. And then it's going to say, I need to create a new palette in the drop down above. So I need to create a new palette. So create a new palette. I'm going to call this platform. Create. Just save it in the same folder. That's fine. And I can drag all of these in. These are all sprites. But if I drag them in, it will save them as tiles. So they'll come in as tiles now. You can see I can select each one. And what I can do is I can like just click and draw them. I have like a box tool that I can just go like that and completely fill them. And that is a lot easier because instead of individually snapping them in, they already snap to the grid. And I can like, these are the sides, that's the corner, 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 and I'll do the bottoms and the tops. And I've just built this entire platform. Okay, and like you can see how I would continue building platforms. So I can, here's a platform to jump on, here's a platform to jump on, and I can continue building it that way. Okay, all good so far? Okay, am I going too fast? All right, cool. Now let's say I'm done with this platform, and I want to make the background now. So let me drag in the background first of all. Remember that the background is much bigger. The background is 1024, I believe. Yeah, it's 1024, and it's a single, so that's fine. I need to create a new tilemap here. So 2D object, tilemap, rectangular one. I'll call this background. And I'm going to change the active tile map to background, which means I'm editing the background now. You can see that on the left-hand side, it changed to that. If I change back to platforms, it'll change back to platforms. So I'm back on background. And the palette, I don't want to use the platform palette. I want to create a new one. This will be background palette. Save it in the same folder, that's fine. And I can drag in that texture. Where is it? Here. And let me go to background. Cool. And then I can draw that in. Now you see a problem, which is the background is rendering in front of the platforms. Okay, and that, even if I change like the order, it doesn't change that. It renders in front of the background because I've made it and it's newer. So what I need to do is in Unity for 2D objects, let me change it to 3D. They're not like in front or behind each other. They use something called a sorting layer. So sorting layers control which things appear in front or behind something else. So if I set the background, they're both on sorting layer default if I look at both of them. And if I set the background to order in layer, let's say -1, you see that it snaps to the back. And the platform is on order in layer 1. So I can change it to like 5,000. And this one can be 4,999. It'll still be behind it. As soon as I make it like 5,001, it goes in front. Okay, so that's kind of how orders and layers work. All good so far? And then the final thing we're going to do real quick is I'm going to try and test this. I'm going to create just a little circle. And with anything in Unity, you can give it components. So this is a basic circle. It has a sprite. It has like its position here. That's like where it is. Rotation is like literally how it's rotated. Scale is how it's scaled. You can also use the tools up here. So that's position, rotation, and scale. You can also add components to things. So this is a circle by itself. If I press play now, nothing happens because it's literally just a rendered circle. It just looks like a circle, it doesn't do anything. However, I can add something called a collider. So let me add a circle collider. And it now has a collider. You should see like a little green thing around it. I might have to zoom in a little bit. This green thing is a collider, which means it allows it to collide with other things. I can also add something called a rigid body. And it has to be 2D because I'm in 2D mode. And a rigid body allows it to fall. So if I press play now, should see that. I don't know where it's gone. There, it's fell down. Let me not maximize this. Drag this window here so we can see it in the scene view. So if I press play, that should just drop. Cool. Also note it went behind because I didn't give that a sorting layer. So that sorting layer, that was like 4,999. That's 5,000. So let's give it 5,002. And that should be in front. Perfect. So again, if I press play now, you'll see it fall and it'll be in front of the camera view. Cool. So it doesn't interact with my platforms at the moment. So you see the way that I added components to it. I gave it a collider and I gave it a rigid body. So if I go to the platforms, I can do the same. I can add something called a tile map collider 2D. And now the tile map has a collider. So all of these are colliders. If I press play, that should now interact together. So because they have collision detection enabled. Okay, so now we have physics. All good so far? If I want to get a little bit fancier, I can add something called like a composite collider. And I'll tell the tilemap collider to use the composite. And you can see that it optimizes it. And what this also allows me to do, if you're ever making a game with destructible environments, let me go to background, platforms, into the platform palette. And let me erase that. So if you have a destructible environment and I erase that, you can see the colliders updating in real time. And that's because it's a composite collider. So if I create like that gap, the collision will update as well. So this is what I need you to do today. Basically mess around, like create a 9 slice, build a scene in Unity, We're not even going to add any kind of like code or anything like that. We're just going to use Unity tools because I am aware this is new for a lot of you. I'll be around for that hour, and I'll be around for an hour after as well if you need me. Okay. Any questions so far? Sure. Okay. I'll have this uploaded now.